But back to the safety of their teams. No kills on either side. Fielder so close as well as Violet to these coalescences, and they're going to be traded out here on both sides, trying to use them to edge, but no one has gone down. Sound barriers from both these teams as well. You can see how evenly matched they are, but eventually something's got to give, and Choi Hyobin getting demeched is one of them. Taken out by the self-destruct as the bomb goes over, and out of duplicates as even more ultimates are expended. The San Francisco Shock tried to stay into this one, but it was Doha who sealed that team fight with the Death Blossom.
So many ultimates invested in that one. Such a slow, grindy kind of... It wasn't even that slow, honestly, Brent. It was just that...
Group comes out. Coalescence has been built up much faster than Violence. It might be an advantage here for the Dallas Fuel to work with. Sparkle goes down. Great peel coming out from the Shock as they just absorb the aggression, and now they're going to be going in with a Coalescence of their own, healing their team back up. You can see Smurf just trying to get a bit of work done. Not going to let Hambin get that remet going as well. And a lot of ultimates now being utilized. The sound barrier on top to try and win out this team fight. Dallas are going to be looking to try and stall this one for as long as possible. Primal Rage being used. Again, the point, you've got to remember, still in control of the Dallas Fuel here, but ultimately, this team fight has gone firmly in the direction of the San Francisco Shock.
Fantastic work kiting the coalescence that came out from Fielder early on. And if
they want to actually commit ultimates to try and turn this one. Coalescence, I mean, the Shock seem to have spotted something. Maybe the fight is potentially winnable. They actually get this sound barrier out of them, but Doha committing that Death Blossom. Surely that's got to do it. 2 kills for them. Points still not getting flipped over in their favor. The Shock are so good at stalling this one out. 91%. But finally, Dallas Fuel going to be retaking this. Still, the Shock are continuing to battle, blow for blow, but that's got to be an end to it. Surely.
You could criticize the San Francisco Shock.
Did a bit of damage, I think, to somebody there with it. And now he's going to be trying to put the pressure onto them. Double divas on the field. So difficult to try and fend off the San Francisco Shock. They're bringing it to the overtime here. Violet with the Coalescence is going to be enough to try and mark down any sort of targets that might be remaining on the side of the Dallas Fuel. They desperately want to fight this one, but Sparkle will trade it out in the end. And this overtime is going to go down. Round number 1 going to the San Francisco Shock. How close and how even are these teams? Violet building up the Coalescence, and it goes down immediately. He's trying to heal up the rest of his team, though. He's kind of been split across. Doesn't get to use the Coalescence for a lot of damage, and that is the opening that the Dallas Fuel have jumped on. It wasn't a great Coalescence from Violet. He was trying to basically keep his team up the entire time, and the Dallas Fuel did a great job of just kind of pulling back and then engaging back in with their own ult.
They simply were not ready.
Sparkle is using this duplicate just at this choke point, has built up this... Okay, the self-destruct comes through very quickly. Nero taken out of the duplicate form, and now Dallas leading it in with the sound barrier. That's going to be a lot of health on the board for them. And it seems like it's going to be an easy team fight win as well. The Shock are going to be going back, fighting prowess on the point itself. Coalescence going to be utilized as well. Violet wants to try and keep his team back alive. Self-destruct's now coming out from both of these teams, or at least I think that's 2 self-destructs on the side of Dallas, but it will not matter. Striker is the one to close it out. That Death Blossom getting an immense amount of work done, as well as those Hellfire shotguns just ripping through the opposition. So finally, San Francisco Shock will flip this point back over in this round. As the uphill gives Dallas the positioning now. They're pushing across the point. Smurf, that is wonderful. The Primal Rage has completely separated and split apart the Dallas Fuel, but Doha wants to try and turn it around with the Death Blossom now. And he's already put in enough damage. That self-destruct of Choi might be clearing them off the point, but he's not going to be able to get remeked. The Shock, it is in their favor ever so slightly because they flipped the point over, but Dallas, they're winning this team fight, and it's going to be the overtime now burning. Only a single player left standing, and Nero will be falling, so the Dallas Fuel taking away these bombs. Coalescence is built up quickly. It forces Nero to use this duplicate, but Smurf goes down as a result of it. Violet could not keep his tank up. Self-destruct trying to force them away. Will anybody fall? No, Doha just about dodging that one with the Ray form, and now Jexa using the sound barrier. Maybe they can get another pick off the top of this one. It is chaos, it is colors, but Doha ends up going down trying to teleport away from the self-destruct. Dallas is still in this though, despite losing a couple of their players, but Sparkle going down might just be the business concluding. Shock also committing this sound barrier into this fight means that they are in firm control of the situation. Dallas so close to going down there. It's actually forced Dallas in. They're going to be committing the ultimates. Fearless wants to use his Primal Rage to turn the fight. Choi taken out. Smurf's got to try and clutch this one up. He uses the Primal Rage, but Dallas is still in this, healing their teams up, and Sparkle remeked up, flipping the point over for them. Now they're going to be trying to look to regain this high ground control as both the divas of the Dallas Fuel just putting in a tremendous amount of work. Doha Sealing that one as well with the Death Blossom. That's more than enough. So the shock.
So that you get better positioning because the other team is forced to back off, otherwise they'd end up getting chunked down. Look at this, teleporting to the back, the Death Blossom again.
Oh,
they've been so
goodness.
good from Striker.
He has been Mr. Consistent this entire time. The kills are flooding from him. Look at that dodge as well for the remake. That is incredible by Striker. He's finding so many opportunities to just flex on the opposition. And again, he's going to be looking for this next kill as well onto Sparkle. He will find it. The shock. What an opening there for that team fight. Flipping the point over eventually. Just going to try and get Doha away from them. There you go.
But now that they have the speed boost, they have Coalescence as well. So this should be Dallas Fuel's best opportunity at getting in. San Francisco, they have to back off. Good kiting. Nobody's really been taken too low apart from Choyobin, but all of this positioning has been gained.
Oh my goodness. Doha with the 3K with the Death Blossom. Gets taken out by the bomb, but the shock. It was a cutesy little effort from them to try and kite back with the speed boost, you know, avoid that. The shock from even pushing in here. 70% in counting. The Coalescence comes through. Jexa goes down. He had the beat. Oh, that's going to be a brutal one. The shock might be able to just press this advantage all the way to self-destruct over the top. Sticky bombs from Sparkle. He does get the kill onto Smurf. I think it's too little too late. 95% in counting. The San Francisco shock looking unreal right now.
Well, there's the beat. It only catches onto a duplicated Moira as Sparkle tries to pull out the Coalescence. Can't quite manage it. Back into Echo form with only 100 health and taken out immediately. Though he does trade for Choyobin before the beat comes through.
What an unreal series so far. And Dallas, they don't want to give up. They've lost a lot of these players, but they're still fighting. The ultimate from Fearless. We've seen huge things from this guy with the Primal Rages. He's only going to be separating the supports away. So the shock's not going to have that going for them. But Smurf goes down to Coalescence. Are you kidding me? Dallas surely can't be turning this one now. The overtime's still going. That's going to be the Self-Destruct as Nero with the remake damage. Might be able to get it. It pushes them away.
Sparkle's only up to 40% of his ult.
Okay. Ultimates are committed though. Nano Boost onto Hanbin, of all people. Just trying to get the picks there, but Nero, I believe, managed to do some dirty work onto Jexa in the back line. Takes him out. It's going to be traded, but yeah, you can see that this comp really does rely so much on the cooldowns because Dallas is still trying to fight this one, but Nero putting up some huge numbers as well, getting a pick-offs onto the backline, essentially staggered out. He is going to get taken down though, as Doha is going to be man-marking him off onto the side, onto the flank there. So a window of opportunity now for Dallas.
That is a large window of opportunity.
A lot of pressure being applied. The Nano Boost is coming out here. Smurf gets the pick off onto Doha, caught up into the choke point. That's going to be not ideal for them, but Sparkle's using the blade to try and turn this. He's been battered back. The bubbles are good, but look at that coordination. Cashing him into the side. Nero trying to make something happen here as well, as he might be able to bring down Fearless, who dove a little bit too greedily there into that fight. The grab is committed from either side. He's going to be catching up a bunch of these members, and ultimates are still being committed. Big Bionade catches on to Nero, keeping him out of the fight, but now Jexa coming in with the rally. Falling quite low, though. Needs to be careful in case he gets chunked down, but has the team to back him up. So it is that war of attrition. And so many things happen there. So many ultimates and abilities got traded out, but inevitably, here, the Dallas Fuel are the ones who are going to be able to capture that checkpoint A.
Applied onto him, hunts for damage. But nothing really happening there for the shock.
Both these teams doing such a good job of absorbing a lot of that aggression coming through. Sparkle taken out, though. Fearless wants to try and turn this one, but what a Bionade! I mean, that was a 3-man from Twilight, and he has set his team up for success. Understatement of the century. The Genji Sparkle wants to try and take him out because Sparkle has the blade, the Nano Boost, the blade now being committed. This might just be turned around. Oh! Smurf tries to get out. What a shot from Glister! He's taking these such unorthodox angles, and they are just not ready for it. The high ground still being controlled up, and the damage, look at it. It's just being outputted from every single direction. And Dallas are left wondering, shaking their heads from side to side. How do they approach this particular problem?
Well, there's the answer.
Way.
Sparkle pulls out the legs. The Soldier 76 has been locked. He goes down, but at least that's some kind of threat.
Dallas not out of this just yet. In fact, this duplicate, will he be able to take him out? Yes, he will. Sparkle goes down as well. I'm not sure where Glister is on the map, but definitely putting in that consistent damage still. Dallas trying to turn it. It's going to be 2 kills on either side now. The Nanobu's finally going to be fading there. Fearless just trying to retake his breath, I suppose, onto the cart. Just trying to divide them up as well. Violet solo has to shield bash away from this fight. Cart still being pressured up. Smurf falling very low. Backed off. What a whip shot from Violet as well. Fearless, he just can't get any value.
That's another one as well from Violet. He is finding enormous value in the team fight. And the San Francisco Shock.
Back up. And now he's going to be looking to apply that pressure onto Glister, who's in the back line. Make sure that he can't get those free angles that he's been doing in the past. Dallas leading in the fight. Jexa goes down. And the sleep down onto Fearless. The Nano Boost is completely taken out of the fight.
Oh,
Glister with another one. This is ridiculous.
Oh my god! What am I witnessing? He's getting primal ranged around, and he's still finding value in the team fight like that. Okay, it's one thing really tough to be able to play aggressively on the Genji like that.
That is so good!
Opportunity.
Oh my goodness, the grab onto the high ground, the bubble to split them up, but Choi is punished straight away. Hanbin ended up using his grab. Now Doha with the duplicate onto the Mercy. Might have the res available, but slept up out of it. Taking out the Bionade as well. And now the fight continues. Nero's built up that Primal Rage and he's using it to disjoint the Dallas Fuel in this upcoming team fight. It's not over just yet though. Trying to heal up Violet, falling very, very low. Sleep Dart's going to be whiffing there. Doha trying to turn it around, but Twilight with the tracking. The damage boost layer down. The shots. No Nano Blades. They opt to use the Nano Boost onto Fearless to keep him alive. And in this fight, the bubble is good. Keeps Twilight up for just a moment. But as this was all happening, Glister, he moved over to the McCree when nobody was watching. And he's already got 2 picks. Sparkle down and out. The flashbang connects. This rally, it's got to try and keep the team up. But I think it is just inevitable. The Shock, way too dominant. Way too much of a firm and solid grasp in terms of how they wanted to play this one. Sparkle with the blade. He's got to go for some heroics, but the bubble will deny him of that one. And now as the store heroes come through, it is not enough to keep it going. Taking fights around the speed boots, they're going to be eating up the damage, but it's harder for them to find these windows when the spam comes through. But look at his coordination! Oh my goodness, Doha has been eviscerated. They dive, they pounce right onto the target. That's a great one. The res potentially denied 1 HP. Nero gets him. Eventually taken out though. Doha was back in the fight as Jexa did get that res off, but I don't think it's going to be mattering here. What a performance from the Shock.
Unbelievable coordination. That is a fantastic set.
This res to come up now as well. So Fearless back in the action, straight into it. The bubble laid down at the bridge. Doha with damage boost applied onto him. Well, he's got enough damage now to try and put a stop to whatever the Shock are throwing at them. The fight continues here, but the longer it goes, it is going to be better for Dallas still. Look at that punish! Doha taken out, and that's very good for them. Smurf now opting into using this Primal Rage to try and again push them onto the point, into a greater position. Nero, well, that's a duplicate onto the Mercy. You don't really see that too often, but he's built up the Valkyrie at least. He's going to be trying to put a bit of healing into his team, a bit of sustainability, I suppose, to try and keep them healed up. But now he's back into that Echo form, so we can start to take a couple of chunks out of the opposition. Still, the longer it goes on, the better it's looking for
to escape with his life, but Smurf is also bionaded.
They're not wasting any time. They won't actually dive into this because they've already got double support ults. And Dallas, oh no, they've been cut off here. The support line is decimated. Taken out early on. Violet now going to be using this Coalescence to try and heal up the rest of his team, but they've gained complete superiority in positioning over the point. Fearless goes down as well. Only Hanbin really to try and stall this one out as Doha ended up using his duplicate onto the Moira. He's put up the Coalescence and it will give them a bit more healing to try and at least put some bodies onto the point to keep this one going, but now the Sound Barrier to really try and stop them where they stand. Dallas still now getting the spawners though, and Sparkle, we've seen some great things out of his Death Blossoms, but that one's going to get ate up by the bubble that was laid down. Choi with the Self-Destruct as well. Nobody really played a point, but now the tank's going to be leaping back into it. The Nano Boost onto Fearless. This could be enough damage. This could be crucial. In fact, it might be enough to try and turn it. He's already choked them down and chunked them down, I should say. Enough for Sparkle to really rip into them. And you can see the damage now being done. And finally, getting some reward out of that with the ultimates being committed.
Unkillable Winston on the battlefield, creating space for Sparkle to come back into the fight and murder people. But I thought Fearless was going to use it.
He's going to be healing his team back up. Going to be met with this Sound Barrier. The Shock are going to be healthy now. They can tank a lot of this damage that's coming their way. And now look at that Death Blossom. Fielder was not ready for it. Didn't have the fade away, perhaps. Something got in the way of it, but 3 kills now going the way of the Shock. It's going to be the Wraith form as well to just dodge out of the way of that Self-Destruct. And Doha will not be present on this point any longer. 51 seconds and counting. The Shock trying to finish this with a bit of time in the bank, and they will do just that. 49 have to crack it open, and here we go. It's unleashed. Fielder just trying to hose them all down once more. And look at that. Coordination just pushing Shock into the corner. Violet goes down. He popped the Coalescence. Oh my goodness, the boosters from Hanbin. That is what you want to see if you're a Dallas fan.
It absolutely is. Nero's doing his best.
What?
Nero really is doing his best effort. He took down 3 in that fight, and it almost looked winnable for a moment. I don't think anybody is going to be in choke
point. The Coalescence is used. FD God has ults. Oh my goodness, the sound barrier almost getting blocked off there by the bubble, but just in time, caught it onto a couple of the members. So Shock's still in this one now. The duplicate also being used. Nero sends in the self-destruct. On the other side, I think Sparkle also doing it. We're seeing a lot of duplicated divas now, sending in those ultimates. Another bomb onto the point. Fielder going to be dodging that one with his fade, but being battered across the map currently. Death Blossom dodged out. Doha taking out Striker, but the Shock getting a lot of these pickoffs, and it is going their way for the time being, especially when the tanks are still up. It's hard to try and chunk through all of that health and armor.
These are off individuals.
What?
It loses a lot of its power. What is this?
Okay, the aggressive fade. Oh my goodness, Coalescence, they desperately need this kill on the Jexa. They will get it, but it's being turned around. Doha using the ultimates. Everyone is low though. The self-destructs. That does a ton of damage, and it's going to be wiping Sparkle off the face of the earth. Holy smokes. The Shock, this is what we've been seeing from them in previous years. That kind of initiative that they take where they find these players moving over to the Diva here, so they're going to be seeing even more self-destructs coming out onto the point. Both of them, look at this, every single time, and it's going to be splitting up the teams into multiple different sections of the map. Lots of little team fights that are occurring in a microcosm. We'll see if they can turn this one around though. Look at that, the ultimate Striker trying to even it out, but Dallas are looking really strong coming into this one. This Coalescence is keeping all of them up. It's going to take some magic now from them to try and win this one. Not probably going to be happening when Doha has that Death Blossom, forces them away, chunks them all down, and it gives his team the opportunity to cleave through the rest of them. Will anybody be able to touch this? Yes. Smurf gets on, and the Coalescence might keep him up, but eventually he will fall. You can never count the Shock out, but with this sound barrier, that tool might just have enough fuel in the tank to try and get over the finish line.
I don't know.
It's so difficult to force the Shock off though, because they're getting the spawners back, Josh.
They're getting spawners back, and they picked Sparkle really early on. This sound barrier is going to close it out.
Now you can see another attempt coming. The backline being pressured heavily, but Nero, I mean, he's found his target. Diva again going to be duplicated up, just trying to build up the self-destruct. They've been so big in these matches, and there we go. Sparkle taken out of the duplicate form and removed from the fight. Definitely going to be going the way of the Shock here in this team fight. They're just trying to get any sort of straggler kills right at the tail end of this, just to buy as much time as possible from the Dallas Fuel.
They don't even give the breathing room. They're trying to initiate really early on, Brent.
Yeah, Sparkle trying to chunk down the coalescing Moira. Violet in the backline, but not able to do so. Dodging it with the fade just in the nick of time. And now we see the San Francisco Shock taking the fight even further beyond. Double divas on the battlefield once again. Dallas hunting for the opportunities, and they're finding it surely. The bomb from Nero will trade for one, but Dallas have got so many picks. This has to be going their way now. The overtime is burning. A couple of players left remaining. Are they going to be able to get this on the board? Surely it's going to be doable, and indeed it is. Finally getting that. They're going to come back in, Brent. Coalescence to try and lead this one in. It's traded immediately from both these teams. But look at the dive coming straight over the buildings. Now the sound barrier. It's a way faster one there. FD go with a massive advantage in this fight. Is it going to be enough for them? The South-Destruct pushes them away. The remake kill. Striker taken out. And Troy Hoban is going to be removed from the mech. That's the Death Blossom to try and really close this one out. Dallas, they were sweating there, but they will capture checkpoint A.
Jexa will have sound barrier. They haven't been great in the series so far, Jexa's sound barriers, but this one, how could it go wrong?
Striker.
Jexa,
he goes down.
Dies.
Yep, Jexa falls. That is a huge one. No sound barrier. Now for them, Smurf. What a performance. The primal rage of 2 kills. You have got to be joking. And now he's diving in to try and clean up the remnants that are waiting on this point. He needed to make some huge plays. They needed something to happen, and he's done it there and then. Granted, Dallas Fuel, they did manage to capture up that checkpoint A.
It feels like it's getting bigger, but Field has just healed up a ton of his tanks, so he has one to respond.
Coalescence comes out from both of them. They need to keep Jexa up. Jexa just trying to avoid it, dodging the line of sight, but Doha and Sparkle go down. The DPS at the Dallas Fuel, with them missing. I mean, the team fight just has gone, it's done, it's dusted. There's no chance of them trying to come back into this. They just simply do not have the damage. So this will be checkpoint A going up for the Dallas, for the San Francisco Shock. By the time they capture this, probably going to have like roughly a minute. Smurf back into this one. The overtime's going. We're really going to be seeing a draw here. Violet so close. The Coalescence build up, and Fearless goes down. What a massive opportunity now. The momentum should have shifted off the back of that one, but now they've got to close this one out. Dallas still desperate to hold on. They are dangerously close to a couple of these ultimates, but Fearless going down to the beam. That is not a great sign if you are a Dallas Fuel fan. This is it. This could be the series right here, right now. The sound barrier going to be applied to almost everybody on the San Francisco shop, keeping them nice and healthy. And now Striker with the Death Blossom. Well, that's going to be stopping them from even walking into them. Still now, the Coalescence, though, comes through, and that's a bit more extra damage. Dallas, they may have just wedged themselves into this point and found an opportunity off of it.
This is an incredible series of events. Fearless falls again, but he's so close to his primal rage.
You're kidding me.
And the rest of his teammates are buying time for him to be able to get back in.
The self-destructed to the back line. Dallas Fuel, they've got their team back up. They bought enough time for them. They were so close to taking this tick, but I think the Shock have been battered back. You never want to count them out, but now Fearless has built up another primal rage in this fight, and he's continuing to try and clutch it up.
It's much more of a hard dive. There they go, trying to take down Striker.
Oh, they get Striker. That is beautiful. Sparkle's now hunting for one of the tanks if he can. You can see them being healed up. It's quite difficult to remove them from the fight, but look at that, he's walked straight into them. And Dallas, what an opportunity for them. Well, Sparkle and Fielder go down in the end. I don't think it's going to be traded out. Well, here's the thing. Violet's still alive, might have that res still available. Sleep down onto Doha. Nobody's going to be able to contest the point, though, so ultimately this will just be stagger kills going the way of Dallas.
Great time bank here.
Survive here, so he's like backing off. Because remember, the Dallas Fuel composition, they kind of want to say similarly clumped up. Twilight goes down, though. That's that Nano Blade that we were talking about. Oh, my goodness. It's made short work of it. There was an opportunity for Nero to try and maybe even it out as well as he dove into the back line, but with the faster spawns, I think the Dallas Fuel are definitely going to be favored now. My goodness, the peel is pretty good. Fielder might actually survive this one, even with the Primal Rage up in his face. A Sleep Dart, that's definitely going to do it. And he's bought enough time here for the Dallas Fuel to really put in a bit of work. Nero almost taken out in the end, but they do get enough space to just res up Striker here. Still, that beam, what, tracking Violet, taken off the face of the earth once more. Dallas Fuel just steadily getting these picks time and time again, and the cart, I mean, typically, if you're in the Shock's position on the defense side here...
Now we're seeing Lucio on the field. What can't this guy play? I mean, in fact, can he play Lucio?
The Grav is used, the Nano Boost to try and combo, but Hambin, that was the Bionade that was applied from range. I think that's Twilight again, indeed, probably was. And that actually reduced the healing possible. The Shock winning out this team fight. I mean, that happened in the blink of an eye.
Flanks with the Bionade and a sleep on Fielder.
Yeah, but he's being pressured so heavily here. Fearless recognized that he could jump onto him when that Sleep Dart missed. I think that target was probably intended to be one of the main tanks, but Dallas Fuel already Smurf going down as well. Fearless using that Primal Rage to turn it in their favor, just to really kind of cement this lead that they've brought up in this team fight. Yeah, that should do it, honestly. Duplicate committed. Nero wants to try and fight this one. This is the kind of playstyle that you see the Shock take. They often invest ultimates and abilities into fights. They see opportunities that us mere mortals can't really spot when it's trying to turn the fight around. Striker's still alive, buying time onto the cart, but look at that damage. Yeah, that is not survivable. Smurf goes down when he was 99% to the Primal Rage, so he's not going to be able to stall out that card any longer. And now Dallas working with about 3 minutes. They're pushing into the final checkpoint.
The Violet Lucio again tried to contest.
The bubble actually blocks a bit of it for his team. I don't know. Maybe if that wasn't there may be an opportunity for Dallas. Still a huge Bionade. 3 members caught there on Dallas. Sparkle tries to even it out using this Death Blossom in the backline. Smurf was desperately trying to get a kill with that Primal Rage again, but won't be happening in the end. The Shock still evening it out, but Dallas Fuel are the ones who are edging out this lead in the team fight. And now, with a minute and a half, the cart will finally begin to start getting pushed. Yeah, the Double Reaper already built up that Death Blossom. Now he's going to let it loose. Violet not able to boop him away. Will get catch there. And now the damage is definitely being done. I mean, it's just impossible to survive that. Multiple ultimates being committed. Dallas Fuel capturing all 3 checkpoints here with 47 seconds left on Icon Vault. That is impressive.
This roster, the coordination isn't quite there, and this is such a comp that relies on everybody being on the same page. The speed boost disengages, again, a little slow there, but they do catch Doha.
Yeah, and now we see the self-destruct being used. It clears the bubble off the point. The Coalescence coming through from Twilight. That should be the ultimate on top of this to try and clear this fight out. Fielder falls from it. Striker just trying to avoid this bomb coming through. Has the Death Blossom if they need it, but chances are, with only a couple of players left standing on the Dallas Fuel side, will be the Shock taking up this first checkpoint. At the choke would be ideal. This is where they want to take the fight. Nero with the duplicate over to towards the Diva on both of these sides. Striker, that Death Blossom. I mean, that's done all the work you really need, I think, to win out that one. 2 kills. It's a done deal at that point. At this point, Dallas are just going to be throwing the bodies at a tremendous amount of work, just displacing the rest of the Shock, splitting them up, and there's a kill that comes off the back of that one, the self-destruct from Hanbin. Striker no longer in this fight. This self-destruct has to be massive here, but Troy is able to get back into the mech. Does force out this sound barrier, as Dallas will be winning out this team fight in the end, but at least the Shock managed to squeeze a couple of ultimates away from Dallas. TP into the back line. He's caught them right there. The Death Blossom to lead it in. Not enough damage. It's being counteracted there. You can see Fielder using that Coalescence, and he kites it beautifully, keeping his team back up. Dallas, they have every single ultimate they need to try and answer what's being chucked at them. Jexer also, I believe that may have been an environmental kill. Onto Striker, taking him out of the fight nice and easily there. That's going to be a lot of damage removed, and now Sparkle. No one's there to try and shut him down. That Death Blossom is getting an immense amount of work. 30 seconds now for the Shock on the attack. And Josh, yeah, I mean, it's feeling like it's getting close now.
A lot of damage removed. They can start getting these positions early on.
A lot of pressure on Fearless. Forced to use his Primal Rage, but Striker goes down, taken out of the fight once again. The Coalescence on top. It's really feeling like a done jobber here for the Dallas Fuel. Even the double self-destructs might not be enough to try and stave this one away. Overtime is coming through. The bubble laid down onto the car, but the Shock, they just don't have enough damage to try and push this one a little bit further now. Striker comes back into the fight, but Sparkle holding onto this Death Blossom, just begging them to get him closer to try and touch this payload and keep the overtime going, and that will themselves. And the point has unlocked. Both teams not willing to give up any space.
The boom?
What? Okay. I was wondering what occurred just there, but that's a big opening kill. Sparkle goes down. That was the environmental kill, and despite the Coalescence is coming through, they just lack the damage. Sparkle's not here in this fight. A bit of a mistake coming out there from Fielder, and it means that the initial team fight goes the way of the Shock here on Ilios.
Overall, though, just what an incredible play from FD-God. He comes back. Let's take a look at this replay here. He just slides around the side at the same time. Whoop, there we go. I don't think he was even
into the action, I guess. FD-God has built up an early sound barrier because of it. He's caught it onto a couple of them. Nero, though, remeching in. Oh, might be able to just get back out of that duplicate form. The self-destruct comes through. Choi getting a great kill onto Fielder. Dallas Fuel, not with too many options. Sparkle's still in it, though. Just trying to chunk them down with those Hellfire shotguns again, but it's Striker who ends up winning this one out. Still, Doha as well with the spam of the tri-shot. Jexer on top of this one. Dallas Fuel not giving up so easily.
They're not giving up, but they are just slowly losing a war of attrition. They're coming back in here again without their loot slipping away again. Shock out here playing with a vengeance.
They have to win this team fight right now, but Smurf, he's got the Primal Rage, leaping up behind them, trying to catch them out. Doesn't opt to use it because he's being healed up by his team. And look at that, Nero, he's built up the self-destruct in the duplicate form. Fearless is gone, out of the fight. FD-God, though, falling, and the Coalescence is keeping their team healthy, so Dallas going to be trading out these kills. Smurf still holding on to this Primal Rage, only waiting to use it at the final moments, and now he lets it loose. This is what's going to be really starting to rip into the Dallas Fuel, along with the Coalescence. Dallas trying to stay back into this now as Jexer lets loose this sound barrier that he's been keeping. But Fielder falling means they're going to be lacking a lot of healing as this team fight starts to get closed out. Smurf solo, 1 HP, eventually brought down. Dallas not giving up in the slightest. Chohyobin just had the boosters ready and waiting. So he didn't end up falling into the middle of the well, but nobody touches. Oh. Nobody touches. A rare mistake from the Dallas Fuel.
Push people away. Hanbin low in terms of his mech, but they're going to be able to push back up here as well. Look at the Coalescence. He's doing so much damage to Fearless. They managed to pick him off. All of the damage on everybody. Fielder's desperately trying to keep everyone alive, but the Dallas Fuel, they're going to lose this team fight. The only silver lining is that they managed to capture the objective, but that... I mean, surely they're not going to be able to turn this around, right? Sparkle
Death Blossom
ultimate.
Sparkle, he can't walk out of the way of the self-destruct, and Doha used the duplicate as well. Forced to use it probably a little bit earlier than he was anticipating. If he gets an environmental kill, he might be laughing all the way to the bank, but it's not looking too likely. Jexer using that sound barrier so their team is healthy. They can withstand a lot of this pressure, but Fearless getting caught out. The Coalescence doesn't catch on to him. Fielder not able to keep his team alive. And look at that, one stray shot into the Death Blossom. That is an immense amount of work. Hanbin, has he just turned this for them? The 2K with a self-destruct, I don't think it's going to be enough. The pressure and damage and healing is too much there from the shock. The health on top of this, Dallas are not able to get these picks, and Nero, look at this, uses the duplicate. Now Sparkle tries to make it work. It's going to be the Death Blossom, but it's not enough. Striker teleports into the back line. He's been doing this all series long. 2 kills for him. The support line is gone. They're destroyed. The Wraith form to dodge, and the Hellfire shotgun to the face to remove him. Hanbin will not be present for this final team fight. They might be able to buy a bit of time now with these kills coming in, but the Shock are just far too dominant. And only X are now finally unleashing that support ultimate he was saving. It's more than enough to try and clear them away, and Violet falling means there's going to be a lack of heals. That self-destruct as well. Smurf using the Primal Rage. Jexa taken off the map. Self-destruct also being utilized to try and clear them away, but the Dallas Fuel, they've got the position, and they've got the bodies, and they've got the damage. I don't think there's really much the Shock can do, but as I say that, Nero trying his hardest to turn this fight around. But Doha, the presence is there, and that is going to be the round going the way of the Dallas Fuel. But here we are, the final round of Ilios. And again, a familiar scene, both teams trading out the damage. This time, Smurf gets caught, and that's just one weakness. Blood in the water, they pounce on it. No remorse. And now they're going to get in these stagger kills. The point only just unlocking, so Shock just going to be disengaging. For these Echo players to be building up these self-destructs to try and force these team fights into favorable positions. Doha was taken out of his duplicate. Nero is still in it, and that's the bomb taking out Hanbin. Doha, okay, has the flight, but 18 health. The sound barrier just catches. Jexa wants to keep him in this fight, but this might be done and dusted. In this team fight, at least. Striker laying down even more consistent damage. And they flip the point over, so the Shock in control.
A 50% advantage here in this final round of Ilios, though, for the Dallas Fuel.
They are certainly still in the lead. Favorited currently to try and take this map away. Coalescence comes through. Violet just trying to keep his team alive. Fielder beams down FD God. And Violet's now being forced and corralled into the corner with this Primal Rage. Has to back off round. And that's going to be, I think, maybe an environmental call. No, the boosters came up from Choi, but eventually demeched in the process anyway. The bubble laid down. Shock just committing bodies. That's a remech kill onto Sparkle. Didn't respect it. Choi, they couldn't burst him down in time, and he got the mech off. What a turning point for that team fight.
That is insane. I mean, if Choi
maybe can touch this one now, 95% and counting. FD God is trying to keep an eye out for some of them. They touch it up, the bubble comes through, it buys them a bit of time, but the sound barrier is going to be keeping them nice and healthy. Still Fearless with that environmental kill. Smurf sent off the map. I'm not sure how that happened, but that could be massive for them.
The Shock are in a great position here if they can just hold on and tickle this point a little more. Nero, he's able to get a kill, but Dallas Fuel easily being able to take that one.
Now they're going to be looking to try and go back in. Obviously, they have Violet with his own Coalescence being built up as we speak. Nero is quite low. I think that's being pressure in the back line, but now the ultimates are really getting traded out. Sparkle trying to do a lot of damage to them. Shock just eating it all up with the defense matrix. Obviously, double divas on the field. Makes it nice and easy to try and mitigate a lot of it coming in their way. Nero with the bomb. Doha gets taken out. That could be critical.
That might be game-changing right there. Here's Fearless with the Primal Rage, desperately trying to turn this team fight in his favor. He's isolated Violet, he's isolated Striker as well, but he can't find environmental kills. How did Dallas hold on to this? This map, it's their lifeline.
Yep, Violet went down. That could be the one thing they're looking for, but Fearless falls! And that is going to be the series. The San Francisco Shock taking it away in the 3-1 fashion, but I mean, you look at that scoreline, it was anything but easy. The Dallas Fuel, so often throughout this series, had so many opportunities to squeak away a map here and there, especially on Ilios.